Hey, welcome to an all new live Let's Talk Lions. Let me know, can you guys hear me? Can you see me? Because truth is, I am now using a new live streaming program, so it's been about a week of really just trying to figure it out. You're saying there's echo? 1 second. Check one. Is there echo? Let me know, guys. Is there still echo? Give me thumbs up, thumbs down on the echo. Sound like an echo DJ. Nobody wants that. All good. We're good. Oh, thank God. Because as I said, for me, I have spent the last week just trying to figure out this new live streaming program. So it has been a little bit of a hellish situation over here. But now, obviously, we good. So thank you, everybody, for hanging out on an all-new episode of Let's Talk Lions Live. I know I haven't done a live stream in a little bit. So first of all, good to see everybody here. YouTube GM, Wolfster, my grandma. Great to have you, Grandma. Jagger, Marcel, Wolfster. We got Continental Gamer, Lions fan, One Pauly LFP, James Harrington, Xander Shea. What's going on? I hope you all brought a little bit of coffee because it's been a while. So, quite frankly, there is a ton to talk about, in my opinion. And so, for everybody else, drop your thoughts. If you have questions, feel free. Bring them in, because that's what we're here for. Something that I'm going to be setting up here for the future is a phone line that you guys can call so that we can actually have real live questions coming in and out, get you guys on the live stream. I think that would be a ton of fun, at least for me. So that's something that we're going to be getting here in the future. But two quick shout outs. First and foremost, first shout out goes to Missy Dacre, who's running a marathon right now. As I sit here and just blurb about the Lions, this woman is out and about running the streets of Colorado. Give it up for Missy. Hey, congratulations. How do I know this? Because a loyal subscriber, Ian Saunders, you can actually check him out on Instagram and follow. He's doing like real life updates as we speak of her doing the marathon. It's pretty cool. Ian Saunders is always in the comments. I appreciate him. His Instagram is Ian's Beer Journey. So if you check that out, hey, you can also congratulate Missy for running a marathon because, my God, I ran cross country back in high school, many a moon ago, and it cured my asthma, but I hated it with a passion. So, anyways, good to be here. It looks like we're getting right into some questions, which I really appreciate. Let's see here. Lions fan, One Pauly LFP is asking regarding the 66-yard field goal against Baltimore a few weeks ago. My reaction is, dude, Justin Tucker, guy's a legend. I think it's serendipitous that he kicked a 66-yarder to beat Matt Prater's record here in Detroit. That just hurt like a son of a gun. However, Justin Tucker's a beast. I give him all the credit in the world. It definitely deflated our hearts, deflated the Lions, and then you see the next week we roll out against Chicago and we just look terrible. So that's all stuff that I want to get into. But second shout out I want to give, I received this from a Marine. So this used to hang above a Marine base out in Iraq. It's unbelievable. It's not even going to fit on the screen. It's so big. It is a 5-foot long, I don't know if you could even see all of this, Detroit Lions flag. So shout out to Tommy Brewer, U.S. Marine, who flew that over a base in Iraq, and for giving that to me. That is a very, very cool memento. So I'm going to have to get it up in this room somewhere. I'm going to start changing up a little bit when we live stream, shooting from a different direction. Maybe I'll hang that in the corner. But huge shout out to Tommy Brewer and the Marines as a whole. Pretty sick. Let's see here. How are we feeling about Bobby Price and Campbell's approval rating? Yo, listen, I got a lot of thoughts, so let's get right into it. Lions season so far. My prediction was that we were going to be 1-4 coming up into this Bengals game. The one game that I had us winning was against Chicago, and funny enough, that is the game that I think we actually looked the worst in. I mean, it's crazy. When you go back and you look at the Niners, the first half, we really struggled, fell apart early. And then it was as if the Niners just started to coast. And that's when the dog in us, the fight in us, just kept coming back. Sound isn't on the right side. Brandon, I appreciate that again for anybody who's listening. And there's some issues with audio. And that's because I'm using a new streaming service, and it's definitely not where I want it to be. So that's something that I got to fix. Thank you for that, Brandon. I appreciate it. I'll get that fixed. But yeah, otherwise, I look at us against the Niners. The Niners begin to coast. We come back in the second half. We show that we do have the Dan Campbell dog in us mentality, that fight. And it was a beautiful thing. Now, we still lose that game, and we roll into Green Bay. I was at the Green Bay game, went to Lambeau. Phenomenal experience, but the first half, we looked phenomenal. We looked great. We were leading at the half, and then we roll into the second half. Our defensive scheme kind of changes up, and it changes for the worst. We get diced on Monday Night Football. But all in all, watching the team, I was like, wow, I'm pretty impressed with a lot of what I'm seeing. Goff in the rain was not good. A little bit of a slippery hand, you could say. Then we go into the week against Baltimore, the tragic loss. However, I think we looked phenomenal. I think the Lions were able to shut down Lamar Jackson in a way that other teams weren't. Kansas City couldn't. I mean, Kansas City's been struggling at where, been struggling pretty bad at this point. But, man, I look at what we did against Baltimore, and we needed that W, I think, for morale. And we saw how much that hurt us going into Chicago because we did look awful. It was kind of as if we just had some serious backsliding. And then last week against Minnesota, some of the things I was really impressed by was our defense. Our defense looked great. And that's the number one thing that I'm noticing this year is the improvement defensively with some of these vets, guys like Brockers coming in, Alex Anzalone, who has been stepping up. He struggled early, but he's been stepping up. And then with a very green, young, and inexperienced secondary in some areas, a lot of these guys are really starting to step up, and I'm pretty proud of them. But we owe it all to Aaron Glenn. I mean, I love every hire that we made this offseason, but the one that I see the most impact, the greatest positive impact, has been Aaron Glenn. We're going to get into that just a second here. Bob asks, how's Jared Goff doing in your opinion? And what do you think is going to happen to Jeff Okudah? Well, Bob, great name, first and foremost. Let's see. My thoughts are, you guys all know that I was pretty pumped on Jared Goff. I thought that Jared Goff was going to come in here, and he's not playing confidently, if I could say it like that. I think Goff has a lot of potential. That's what I've said from the beginning. And I think he has that potential. He has to have the right pieces around him. And when you watch Goff, he's afraid to throw the ball more than 15, 20 yards. I mean, how many throws past 20 yards has he had all season? Or past 15 yards? It's been pretty limited. We see most of those balls getting thrown over to either Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift, or TJ Hawkinson, short routes. But some of the deep balls, he just doesn't look like he feels like he can make it. And that's a huge problem. The red zone turnovers by Goff are killing us. You sit there and at a certain point, you're like, okay, you're an NFL quarterback. You were the number one pick. You've played in LA. You went to a Super Bowl. Why aren't you playing like it? I think Jared Goff has the potential to be great. But it's as if he doesn't believe it because he's the Detroit Lions quarterback, and that mental capacity is maybe wearing him down. So all in all there, Bob, definitely bummed about Jared Goff's performance thus far. Let's see here. Hey, Jagged fell. Linebackers look better since we got rid of Collins. 100%. The removal of Jamie Collins from the game, putting him on the sideline, and then just shipping him out has been phenomenal. It's as if a huge weight and load was taken off because, listen, Jamie Collins had his time. He had his time in the NFL, and I just think it's over for him. At least here in Detroit, it was over. It always kind of felt like he was playing for a paycheck, in my opinion. Yeah, so all in all, Derek Barnes, between Derek Barnes and Zaloni, man, I think that linebacker core is doing phenomenally. Also, Charles Harris. Harris has been playing beautifully. And I love that Sheila said, go get the QB, right? Go get the quarterback, because we are seeing a ton of pressure this season put on the opposing quarterback. That was something that we were unable to do for years. Lions fan Paulie, do I think that the Lions should draft a quarterback this year? No, I'm not even looking at the draft yet. I think this is a problem, and I think I was having this conversation with somebody else. I think Lions fans, when you start out and you're so rocky, we all start looking towards the draft because you're like, oh, like we suck this year, we're not going to be good. Why not just look at the draft? No, I want to watch this year for everything that we need, because this year is going to prove where we're going to need or what our biggest weaknesses will be. And so I'm not looking at the draft yet. I won't look at the draft until post week 12. And even then, I'll just be kind of, barely looking in there. So yeah, no, not looking at quarterbacks, not looking at the draft at all. But something I wanted to talk about was Aaron Glenn. For all of those of you just joining right now, welcome back to another live episode of Let's Talk Lions. It has been a while. It's good to have you here. Let's see. Aaron Glenn, obviously, as I said, I've loved all the coaching hires. I love Anthony Lynn. Yeah, there's been some play calling that I don't like, but I think Anthony Lynn is the right guy for the job. The building out that we're doing. Dan Campbell, I don't care. Some people hate that he cried. I love it. I love it because he said, I actually give a crap about the Lions and these players. How many years have we had emotionless robots up there just, oh, well, we gotta do better. Thank you, Matt Patricia. Yes, we have to do better. How? Why? Tell me how. To see Dan Campbell get up there and his heart care so much and be so big for these players, man, that's how you win a locker room. And that's how, when you're 0-5, the players look and they say, we're going to keep giving it our all. We're going to go out there and try to get this W for him, because all he wants is the W for us. You win a locker room, you win your freedom. Win the crowd, win your freedom. What movie is that from? Drop it in the chat. Who's the first person who's going to get it? Let me know. Win the crowd, win your freedom. But yeah, you look at Aaron Glenn. I think Aaron Glenn took an abysmal defense from Paul Pasqualani to Corey Unlin. These two defenses that were just absolutely horrendous. And he has turned an about face 180 degrees. Bud Abbott, Lou Costello, Buck Private style. Just turn this defense around. Some ways that it shows is very simply, you're looking at a defense last year on third down that just could never, ever stop. Third down defense was terrible. This year, the Detroit Lions on third down defense is ranked second in the NFL. Last year, we couldn't stop a bunch of baby lambs from crossing the line on third down. This year, we're stopping friggin' stampedes. And it is phenomenal. The fact that we are second in the NFL on third down defense is actually mind-blowing. You know the GIF, if you type in mind blown and it's the guy with fireworks and he's like, that's what it's like. It doesn't even make sense to me. And that is the effect of a phenomenal coach top down. From there, look at Tracy Walker. He came into the NFL and in his first season, K-Dog, dropping it, Gladiator. That is correct, K-Dog 87. Gladiator is the movie. You're the first person to get it. Looks like I'm going to have to send you some Let's Talk Lions gear for free. By the way, you know that you can buy this hat and other merch, letstalklions.com. Or if you're interested, I also have a Patreon account. It's patreon.com/ Let's talk Lions. Also, I'm seeing other people drop it in there. Jaggard fell. Gladiator, that is correct. My latency must be pretty screwed up right now because it feels like all of the text, the chat, is coming in a lot later. So that's something that I got to fix. Got a lot to fix since switching over to the new stream. Yeah, so I look at Aaron Glenn. Look at Tracy Walker. Look what he has been able to do with Tracy Walker. He is changing. Tracy Walker comes in to the NFL. PFF grade was around an 80 in his first year. Then in his second year under Corey Unlin, Matt Patricia, he's ranked at, I think his PFF grade was 50, 51. Just falls apart. Then this year, here he is ranked as the second best free safety in the NFL. So it begs the question, how good is Aaron Glenn at his job? And I think that answer is phenomenal. He is the right man for the job. From there, I mean, you kind of look at it. Some other things that I wanted to talk about today. Obviously, guys, if you do have questions, drop it in the comments. I'll check them out as we keep going. Let's see here. Yeah, so I think this is something about Aaron Glenn that what bums me the most is that Jeff Okudah has gone down. Jeff Okudah goes down game 1, the Achilles. And what is such a bummer about it, to me, this was like his reboot. It's like the Dune reboot for Jeff Okudah's rookie year, right? I looked at him last year and I was like, I feel bad. Like, it's a crappy rookie year with COVID, terrible coaches, injury, all of it. And then this year he comes in and I'm like, in my mind, I was like, all right, I'm just going to pretend that this is Jeff Okudah's rookie year. And for him to get injured as quickly as he did is such a bummer because look at Tracy Walker. Look at his elevation. I mean, that is huge. And so in the same way, Wolfster, my guy, should the NFL disband the Washington football team and give St. Louis a team? First of all, Wolfster, thank you for the $5 donation. That's incredibly sweet of you. Let's see here. Should the NFL disband the Washington football team? Wow. Catching me off guard with that one. Didn't see that coming. The NFL will not disband them because of their history and the Super Bowls and everything that has been Washington. Should they disband them? Great question. I would say if Washington were to relocate to St. Louis, I'd be good with that because I think it would be a fresh, new life, a new everything. Yeah, so I'm going to say get rid of Washington, move them to a new city, let that become a new franchise, keep it 32 teams, give it back to St. Louis because St. Louis should never have been stripped of the Rams and the Rams go to LA. I think that whole situation sucked. So Wolfster, should they disband the Washington football team? I'm going to say yes if they do give that team to St. Louis. I think that's the way to go. I feel bad. Or give it to New Jersey. And you're like, what? There's already 2 teams that play there. And I'm like, no, there's not. They play in our state, but they don't play for our state. Once again, Wolfster, thank you for that. Yeah, looking, you know what? People, Lions fan, Paulie, I see what you're saying about Jeff Okudah being a bust. I don't think Jeff Okudah's a bust. I don't. I think he was drafted too high, far too high, by a guy who basically pissed off Darius Slay, got rid of him, then had to fill those shoes. So Jeff Okudah was drafted too high, and I don't know if he's going to be a good enough cornerback. I don't know if by definition you can say that's a bust because for 2 years in a row, he's had bad injuries. I think really when I look at Jeff Okudah, moving him to the safety position will probably benefit the Lions and Okudah that much more. That would be my suggestion. Lions fan, Paul A. LFP, thank you for the donation. Do you think we need to draft a kick? Guessing that's a kicker. Do I think that we need to draft a kicker? No, I don't. No. And once again, I'm not going to go into the draft with any depth because it is too early in the season, but no, definitely do not think that we need to draft a kicker. I think there is a solid availability throughout the year, throughout free agency and everything coming with that. I didn't like getting rid of Matt Prater, but again, that is just another story. Or do we just convert Jack Fox into being able to kick through the uprights? I'm just saying. Guy's got a boot. From there, I think Jeff Okudah's injury really hurts him that much more because he would have developed so well under Aaron Glenn this year. The way that we're seeing Tracy Walker bounce back, have this season, man, I think that it would have been so huge for our guy, for Okudah, to have been able to have all season to develop as if he was a rookie all over again. So that's a huge bummer. Let's see here. Question for you guys, actually. I want to know, how do you guys feel about Jamal Williams versus DeAndre Swift, and Jamal Williams really being the front runner between the two running backs? Because I came into this season expecting DeAndre Swift to be RB1 and Jamal Williams to be RB2. However, what we have seen is Jamal Williams has got the hot hand and he has become RB1. I mean, you look at his touches, I think he has 3 more touches than DeAndre Swift, so not many, but he's got 55 carries, 244 yards, 4.4 yards a carry, 2 TDs all on the ground, and then in the air, he's 15 for 16, phenomenal, 101 yards, 6.7 yards per reception. Mortal Films is saying that Williams is better. I think that we are seeing the fact that Williams was a huge pickup. Jaggard Fell has no problem with it. Xander Shea, I think the 2 running back system we're doing is great and we should keep at it. With extra pickles, both guys are amazing. I like the tandem. I believe they do different things. And then Wolfster, give it to whomever is cooking. Let's talk about the fact that you used the word whomever. I'm proud of you. Yes, so when I look at that, I also love Williams, the Single Dads Club. Love Williams. I think, here's the truth of the matter. Whoever is hot, never take him out of the game. That's the way I look at any sport, baseball, football. If a guy's hitting in baseball, why would you ever pinch run for him or pinch hit for him? If a guy is, Jamal Williams is the perfect example. Especially the game, I believe it was against Chicago, where he was looking good. He was looking great, and I heard people kind of groaning and kind of calling for more DeAndre Swift because he's exciting, he's young, he's swift, he hurdles people. But all in all, I love the tandem. I love the fact that we actually have an RB1, RB2. Like, when was the last time Detroit has had something like this? And the fact that we have Jamal Williams also next year. Let's see here. This is an interesting name. I love the Pats and Lions. How did that happen, sir? I feel okay, but not a huge fan because, in my opinion, DeAndre Swift is better and has more promise. Yeah, I think one big thing to also recognize is that DeAndre Swift, we really do want to keep him healthy for the long term, as this is a rebuild, right? Because if we're looking to not really even win the division probably until 2023, that's like the first year that I think we could actually take the division. And if that's the case, you don't want DeAndre Swift getting hurt this year or next year. Like, I think the RB1, RB2, the tandem is huge, giving them almost equal reps, because then it ensures or helps ensure that both guys would stay healthy for longer. Which really, Yeah, YouTube GM. Right now, I'm fine with Williams being the number 1, but I see that changing. I could see that changing as well as the season moves forward. Both guys have actually, interestingly enough, the last 2 or 3 weeks have been questionable on Friday into Saturday and then played on Sunday. So I know that if you look at the questionable for tomorrow, you got TJ Hawkinson, you've got DeAndre Swift, you've got Jamal Williams. I forget the other 2 that are questionable. I think Trey Flowers might have been one. However, when you look at those questionables each week, though the 2 running backs have been questionable, they did end up playing. So that's something. From there, let's move on. I actually want to talk about injuries. I think the injuries this year have been quite devastating. Injuries are always devastating. However, man, we have had, I think, 3 or 4 season-ending injuries. Right off the bat, even before the season began, Decker hurts his finger. He's been out 5 games, had to get surgery. Here he is, or I don't know if he got surgery, but I know that he injured it enough that 5 weeks go by, and he might be playing tomorrow. I haven't heard. I don't know. That was the hope. I don't know. I haven't seen if he was taken off of IR or no, he did practice. So yeah, so here he is. He practiced earlier this week. It was limited, but holy cow. Decker goes down right in the beginning. Then Okudah has a season-ending injury with the Achilles. If he goes down, who takes his place? Okwara has a season-ending Achilles injury. Ragnow has the season-ending injury on the toe. Cephas has a season-ending injury with a broken collarbone. And it sucks because Decker, before the season, puts all that pressure on Penei Sewell to become left tackle, and we saw how that kind of unfolded and the ups and downs of Penei Sewell just being thrown in there after a whole year off. Okudah, it stops his development, as I talked about earlier, under Aaron Glenn. Doesn't get to develop as if it's his rookie year in a new defensive scheme with a phenomenal coach. Iffy, just a shame for a rookie. Same thing with the development there. Okwara, we lose that huge pass rush threat. Now, I think our defense is doing a really good job so far without Okwara being in there. However, how long can you sustain that? That's the question. Ragnow at center, vital part of the line. And Cephas, who really started to shine. I didn't expect Cephas to become what would be wide receiver 1. However, he's looking like it. Was looking like it. Then he breaks the collarbone. There goes the season. I mean, that just sucks. It just sucks. And I'm seeing Dr. Detroit in here who says we need an impactful draft. And Dr. Detroit, I'm going to say this. We had a great draft this year. I think we had a great draft, and I know you're talking about next year. But all in all, when you look at what Brad Holmes was able to do, and you look at like Levi Onwuzurike, who we'll get into, and Aleem McNeil, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell off the bat. Jamar Jefferson, though, we haven't seen him at all. I believe I don't think I've seen him take any reps this year. You look at everything that we have done, and quite frankly, it feels like the best draft the Lions have had in years. And it is exciting knowing that Brad Holmes, we have him for 5 years, and he's going to build out the future for Detroit. Because if he has done this well in the first year as we start to build out, it's exciting. It's exciting. And this is something, last night I was watching the Astros-Red Sox game with a buddy, and actually the guy who gave me the flag. And as we were talking, you know, I think that Detroit, all in all, Red Wings, Pistons, Lions, Tigers, Bears, oh my, I think we have a bright future in every single category. And I know a lot of people will look and always say, they'll say, oh yeah, well, you know, the Pistons, sure, the Red Wings, sure, and the Tigers, yeah, but probably not the Lions just because of the past. And I don't think it's fair. This is a new team. It's a new coaching staff. It's a new GM, Sheila, top down. I really think that the Lions have a bright future ahead of them. One where, shoot, man, I would say get on the train now. For all of those who aren't, all aboard. Get on the train, because even if it goes down, it's going to be beautiful in the end. David Bryson, my man, what's good? Great to have you here. Sepatown, blame all the team's struggles on Quinn Trisha. Yeah, it's an easy blame game to just blame Quinn Trisha. And in a lot of areas, I would agree. However, there's also areas where I do look at Quinn Trisha, and they made some good moves. TJ Hawkinson, DeAndre Swift. You know, I believe Taylor Decker as well, wasn't it? And I think that was Quinn who made that decision. Yeah, I think that there was areas of Quinn Trisha that we can blame a lot of the negative on, especially the culture in the locker room. However, there's also areas where I look at them and I'm like, they made some good moves every here and there. It's kind of like, you're gonna lose a game of chess, but maybe you got the opponent's queen, and then you're like, sweet, I guess if I lose, whatever, I got your queen. I don't know, not much of a chess player, so I don't know how it works. Yeah, YouTube GM. I think we could build on it with the draft capital we have. I agree. Draft capital is huge. Getting LA's next 2 years, first round picks. I mean, like, we have a lot of draft capital that is going to be very important, vital, which will allow us to expand. In ways that we wouldn't be able to without that draft capital, right? Because maybe you could pick up a wide receiver and you can grab that, that linebacker or whatever we're looking to do. Huge thank you to Wolfster106 dropping the donation. How many games till Campbell gnaws off a kneecap? Yeah, I saw that and I tried not to laugh because I was in the middle of talking. Dang, dude, that's a... You know what? I think Campbell... I don't know, man. I love him. I love Campbell, and I know a lot of people are outside of Detroit don't like him. Let me ask you guys, how did you feel about him and his press conference where he got emotional? Wolfster, to answer your question, Thanksgiving Day. I think he's just got to gobble it up with some pie and turkey and kneecap soup. So I think it's on Thanksgiving Day. He gets out there and eats a kneecap, which I'd be fine with. I would love it if somebody from like the Great British Baking Show made a cake that was a kneecap, and then we were able to, because I love baking. Should I bake a cake that's a kneecap and give it a Campbell? That'd make some for some good TV. If I ever get him on an interview, that's what I'll present to him. That'd be fun. Yeah, let's see. Obviously I asked about him tearing up, kind of, crying about the loss. And yeah, YouTube GM, not mad at Campbell. Xander Shea, you loved it. Yeah, Wolfster106, I felt proud when he cried because he showed he cared. Agreed. And that's what I said at the beginning of this for anybody just popping in. I think him showing that he gives a flying horse's butt about the Lions, about this organization, about the players, about you, and about me. Man, that's everything. That's everything to have a coach who cares like that. So, yeah, I agree. You know what? Also, I read an article. I don't know if you probably do, but Tim Twentyman, he's got a lot of solid insights, and I highly recommend you watching or reading any of the articles that our guy writes, because he talked about Levi Onwuzurike in a way that was very illuminating. And seeing Onwuzurike, who missed a lot of training camp this year, and some of the fact that like his back was hurt, he opted out of 2020. He comes in, he misses training camp. Now he's slowly building up, and I think this is the importance of having good vets around you, solid vets. A big thing is a guy like Michael Brockers or Williams, when they're able to look at Onwuzurike and tell him to basically up your game. You got to be better. Because that's what they were telling him after the Chicago game. That's what Twentyman wrote in his article. Solid article once again. And that's huge, man. That's huge to have these vets be able to look at these rookies and inspire them. Not belittle them, not make them feel terrible. Because then you look at him, Onwuzurike, coming out the next week against Minnesota. He gets 20 snaps, and he played really, really well. I think he had 4 tackles, 3 solos. All in all, Onwuzurike then steps up that game, and when you have guys like Brockers behind you, teaching you, and spilling into you, man, like, that's huge. I love the Brockers acquisition, especially for these young guys. Yeah, Jaggard Fell, MCDC is perfect for the job. I agree. What's funny is I don't watch him much, Colin Cowherd. I don't watch him much anymore. I used to watch him a lot before I started doing Let's Talk Lions, and I was always bummed at the way that the Lions were presented by national media. Obviously, Joy Taylor said some stuff in the beginning of this year regarding Dan Campbell. But I'll say this. It was cool watching their reaction to Dan Campbell's presser where he ended up tearing up, because you can tell that they're like, wow, all right, this guy has won the locker room. Because then you have somebody like John Gruden who loses the locker room, or better yet, Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer. I mean, the poor Jags and those poor players, dude. the Jags and the all right, real quick, we'll get into Urban Meyer in a second, but the Singles Dad Club dropping a $10 donation. That's huge. Thank you, my guy. Who's your Gandalf and who's your Legolas on Detroit? Whole Singles Dad Club, that's a question that's going to require some thought. Wow. All right, I'm gonna think on that, and then I'm gonna come back to it, because I don't want to just say something because I have the right answer. When I look at Urban Meyer, I think that he has lost the locker room, and then you go to the flip side, the same record for the Lions, and a coach who has won the locker room in a way that I don't think most coaches ever can unless you're winning. So to be 0-5 and win the locker room the way that MCDC has is astounding. It's actually astounding. Going back to the Single Dads Club, who's your Gandalf, who's your Legolas on Detroit? Ay. So Gandalf bringing that wisdom, but that sternness. I'm going to go and disagree if you want, but I think Michael Brockers is our Gandalf. He's the vet, right? He has seen it. He's gone to the ends of the earth. He has journeyed all abroad the land. However, he's also fun. You also see him laughing. You also see that enjoyment. The way that Gandalf enjoys hanging out with the simple folk, with the hobbits. However, he has seen the darkness, and he's willing to still fight for it. That's Michael Brockers. Michael Brockers is our Gandalf. Who's our Legolas? I'm going to flip to the offense. I mean, quite frankly, it feels like I got to go TJ Hawkinson. You know, like Hawkinson, the way that, and I'm not doing it based on, I think that TJ Hawkinson is able to get out there and do what nobody else can on the Lions. The way that Legolas is able to climb upon an Oliphant and get to the top and take down an entire Oliphant, that's TJ Hawkinson putting his shoulder down, running through guys, laying blocks, catching the balls. He does it all. He's our Legolas. So there you have it. Michael Brockers is Gandalf, and then you've got TJ Hawkinson, who's Legolas. Sure, their physical attributes are a little bit different. I'd say Legolas is a little bit skinnier than TJ Hawkinson, but they get it done. I don't know. Let's see here. How do you guys feel about drafting Malik Willis? David Bryson, as I said earlier, something that I'm not even worrying about, not even thinking about for a while, is the draft. That's something that I don't want to look at until much later, after week 12, week 13. That's kind of when I start to look at that. But really, it's once you know you're out of the playoffs. YouTube GM, thank you for that. Like the video. Yeah, because if you guys like this, it helps it. It helps the algorithm. You know, I just do this because it's fun, but I really do appreciate all of you being here, all of you guys dropping your thoughts. Who's your paladin and wizard on this team? My half elf is Harris. Ooh, God, we're getting into the weeds, and I like it. I like it. Yeah, for those of you, I mean, you guys all know I love D&D. I got all my books down there. Actually, I got to set up some stuff for later today. Gotta get prepared. I'm DMing at the moment for a crew, a couple friends, a couple neighbors, DMing and trying to lead them, because there's a bunch of people who have never played before. So to DM for people who've never played before is not an easy thing, but it's a lot of fun. You get to teach people, and really watching them enjoy it is great. So I'm running a campaign for some people. Anyways, Cincinnati. Here we are. I know we're playing against Cincinnati tomorrow. A Cincinnati Bengals team that is a lot better than I anticipated. I don't know about you guys, but coming into this year, I did not think that Cincy was going to be as good as they are. I've been excited for this game ever since the draft. I said that in yesterday's video. Mostly because they decided to draft Jamar Chase and not Penei Sewell. I expected them to go for the long term, but they said, let's get the guy, let's get the wide receiver, the chemistry. And right off the bat, I was like, yo, I think this is a mistake. I don't think that this is going to work out for them. And this year, it has been paying off for Cincy. For us, it has not been paying off so much. Penei Sewell's had ups. He's had downs. However, he has been thrown into the fire. That is a huge problem for him with Decker going down. Cincinnati's defense is really good. I look at this game as, man, the Lions are putting up a fight that I did not anticipate all year. Campbell came in and made it very clear, listen, we're going to fight to the very end. And it was great sentiment. It was great to hear as a fan. You're like, okay, we'll see. And every game thus far, other than really, I think, Chicago, that's been the case. We have put up a fight, and we're going to do that with Cincinnati, I believe. Unless, of course, we follow the same pattern where we lose to Baltimore on a heartbreaker, and then we go into Chicago and suck, and then we lose to Minnesota on a heartbreaker, and then we come back and maybe, you know, it's got the possibility of it deflates the locker room. But I think that Campbell's response, the crying, the press conference, is enough to pump people up, pump this team up to say, we got to get the W. We're home. It's a big game for us. I think we need that. You should do a YouTube D&D. Don't see those. Yeah, you know what? Actually, a great D&D YouTube account that I follow. Oh, man. I think it's called Dungeon Dudes. Let me look it up because I want to make sure for you. These guys are great. Yes. Dungeon Dudes. They got like 315,000 subs. They do a really good job of explaining everything about Dungeons & Dragons, from the very basic to pretty high up there, pretty elevated stuff. So definitely recommend Dungeon Dudes. And if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, which most of you are, as you're here, and you know I only basically talk about that or the Lions, Nerd of the Rings, phenomenal YouTube channel. Nerd of the Rings. I watch all their stuff. It's like they actually go through and they're like, well, where was Aragorn before, you know, the Council of Elrond, the Council of Rivendell? And then you can kind of follow, and they'll map it out based on all the information within Tolkien's world. So yeah, if you guys are interested, Nerd of the Rings, Dungeon Dudes, two places that I subscribe to and watch just about all their videos. Let's see here. Yeah, so all in all, when I look at this game against Cincinnati, I think it's real tight. It's something that we can absolutely pull off, or it has the potential to be another heartbreaker, because that's kind of the Lions' way this year, is getting right there, fighting until the end, and then just losing, which is really tough because, man, watching our guys get out there and do everything they do to get that L, I think Levi Onwuzurike said it perfect. He said it's annoying. He said it's just so annoying. And I'm like, that's the word for it. It's less of like heart-wrenching. It's more of like, as the player, you got to be so annoyed that you go out there and you fight as hard as you can for 60 minutes with your brothers just to lose on a 59-yard field goal, a 66-yard field goal, whatever it is. But yeah, so at this point, I was saying that we should be 1-4. My overall prediction, I think I gave us 5 to 7 wins. I'm trying to remember exactly what I said, but as of this point, man, I thought we were beating Chicago, beating Cincinnati, and then beating LA. And I think it's fair to say that we will have a rough go at LA, but we'll get there. Anyways, yeah, so that's pretty much it for me coming into this weekend. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out for another live stream. First time we've been back at it in a while. If you have questions, drop them in there. If not, we'll go upon our merry ways for the rest of the day. Get prepped. Upcoming one of these weeks, maybe against Philadelphia, I will. Actually, Philadelphia is Halloween. One week, we will actually live stream a game together. I'll stream in all the audio. It'll be fun. But I got a lot to figure out with this new streaming software that has obviously created a lot of problems. People said that it's only coming through audio-wise on the right speaker. That's a problem. Don't love that. Got to figure out a lot here. But hey, all in all, I think it did pretty good. That's it. That's all I got for today. Once again, if you guys are interested in buying these hats, you can buy it at letstalklions.com. You can support me on Patreon, which is patreon.com/letstalklions. And if not, guys, friends, I just love hanging out, talking to you about the Lions. Thank you for supporting the channel by watching the videos, by sending it to your friends if they're also Lions fans, if you're like, hey, this was good. Because if it's not good, don't send it to them. Don't spam them or spam them. God, I miss spam, dude. Remember when you used to just get those emails all day and then you would create a second email account just for spam and then you would... At least that's what I did. Anyways, everybody, thank you very much for hanging out for an all-new episode of Let's Talk Lions Live. We're going to roll into tomorrow. Let's beat Cincinnati. It'll be a good time. And until then, I will catch you next time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Go Lions. Don't forget, check out Dungeon Dudes and Nerd of the Rings. That's it. I'll catch you later.